What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. As I always say, it really helps the channel, and honestly, I can't tell you how much it does. The support just recently for me has been absolutely amazing, not just for my channel, but for the way you talk about my dad and things like that as well. And you know, I can't thank you enough for that. And likewise, I'm always here for you. If you need me, I'm on Discord, I'm on Twitter. Come talk to me if you want to. I'm always open to it. So with that being said, let's get in to today's stories. Much love, guys. The first story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for refusing to have any contact with my late husband's affair child? This is a long story, so buckle up. 7 years ago, my husband passed away. A few months after he passed away, a 15-year-old teenager came to my house. She revealed that she was his daughter. His name isn't in her birth certificate, but he really stepped up after he found out that her mum died when she was 10. She went to live with her grandmother, and my husband paid her grandmother each month to help with the expenses. After my husband died, the payments stopped and her grandmother threw her out. After being homeless for a couple of weeks, she came to my house. This was a pretty big shock to me, and I cannot stress how much I didn't want this person in my house. At the same time, I couldn't leave a child homeless. So I told her that I would help her and give her a place to stay. I also warned her that I only want to help her out, and I'm not taking any maternal role, and she shouldn't expect me to. She agreed. She stayed at my house from years of 15 to 18. My kid had already gone off to college, and I didn't mind. I never acted on the resentment I felt, but at the same time I refused to do anything that could be considered parent-like. I pretty much only provided her with food and gave her a place to stay. That's it. She left when she was 18. I didn't have any contact with her after she left. She's now 20 and she contacted me recently. She wanted to connect, and she told me that I'm the only mother figure she has. She wanted to bond with me, and she wanted me to consider her a daughter to me. After some contemplation, I reminded her that it wasn't a role I was willing to take, and it was something I warned about very early on. I helped her because she needed it, not because I loved her. She cried and told me that it wasn't fair and I wasn't giving her a chance. The thing is, I don't think I have to. I've tried refusing politely, but she keeps pushing this, and I'm about to block her everywhere. My kid, who has always refused to talk to the girl, thinks I am right. My friends are divided on this issue. Am I the arsehole here? Wow, what a strange one, and it's one of these ones where I don't think you're going to be the arsehole no matter what decision you make. You know, it's a child you don't know. You was kind enough to take them in their time of need. You said you don't want to be that maternal figure to them, which I would totally understand. You don't know this person. This person's just walked into your life. Although at 15 it's a very young age, maybe you could have helped them out with some sort of therapy, because clearly now they're having some sort of issues and they've attached themselves to you and want you to be the mother figure, although you don't want to, and you explained that in the past. And there must be some huge feelings of resentment for what your husband did, and he can be the only arsehole in this story to me. But I may be wrong there. Let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Titsex McGee says, "No one's an arsehole here except your late husband. He really did drop something on you. My ex has a love child of his own. I'll say for legal reasons, allegedly. If I were in your shoes, I would have made the same choices. I wouldn't have bonded with my husband's love child, but I wouldn't have left her on the streets. I can understand her hurt, but if you can't find it in you to want to bond with her, then why force it? Would she have to force to bond with you if you wanted it and she didn't want to?" An edit because this blew up. I addressed it in a reply to a comment nested underneath. But the grandmother's also an arsehole. Big time for sure. Yeah, I forgot about that actually. Terroriza says, "No one's an arsehole here. You are not her mother." Although I do want to point out that it wasn't realistic for you to expect the 15-year-old orphan not to get emotionally attached to you when you were the only family she had left and you chose to open your home to her. You could consider taking on a role of an aunt or an older friend. There is a middle ground between her mother and going no contact, and she isn't at fault here either. And Undercover Introvert says, "Looking at these comments, and I can't help but feel damned if you do, damned if you don't. If OP took the child in, even with explicit clarification that she wants no relationship with her other than to shelter her until she becomes of legal age, then OP is the arsehole for refusing a future relationship, even though OP's feelings are valid and far from petty. If OP didn't take the child in, then she would have left the child homeless or facing a horrible fate in the system. If OP just took her in without any emotional expectations, then at least OP would know that the kid wouldn't be abused or taken advantage of. We all hear the horrors of the foster system and the devastatingly low adoption rates of older children. I feel for the 20-year-old and I feel for OP. At 20-year-old, you should understand how truly hurtful it is to have your spouse not only cheat but have a baby and not tell you anything for years. This is one massive blow. You don't just recover from that, especially when you step up and help care for his love child for 3 years immediately after his death. Has OP had the chance to process her feelings and move on with a constant reminder of her husband's betrayal? If the 20-year-old cares for OP, which she seems to because she is seeking a relationship and in return to make me feel that OP treated her decently before, that she shouldn't care for OP enough to mind her feelings, to understand her pain, to not add to it. The 20-year-old is alone in the world that has been cruel to her. Her own father kept her as his dirty little secret. Her mother passed away when she was a small child. Her own grandmother kicked her out when the money stopped coming. Her own sibling refused to foster any relationship with her. The only person who showed her genuine decency is unable to love her back because she hurts OP by her mere existence in OP's life. My heart breaks for her. And putting it that way, it's just thinking about OP alone in this world. It's heartbreaking really, isn't it? Wow, what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and what would you do in that situation? And don't forget to put your vote on story 1 in the description below. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for not wanting to adopt my sister's kid? My husband and I already have 3 kids. 2 are adopted. 1 is my biological child from a previous relationship. Ages 11, 9 and 8. My sister is pregnant. She can't look after the baby. She's asked us to adopt her child as it would be a short and uncomplicated process for us, as we already know what we're doing both in terms of adoption and babies. And as we're approved adoptive parents who would still foster from time to time, it'd be simple enough to take in an extra child. However, I'm concerned at my sister's behaviour. She's already referring to the child as her baby, which is fair enough as the baby is grown inside of her, but it makes me worry that she won't be able to detach herself from the child. Additionally, I'm concerned that I will unwittingly become a glorified babysitter until she decides she wants to take the child back, as she has said that while she wants this baby, she's not ready yet. I have friends who have adopted relatives' children, and it's become a mess of various boundary related issues. E.g. the bio parent telling the kid to call them mum/dad. While my kids have said they'd be okay with it, and my husband has also said so, the final concern is that if she changes her mind later and tries to take the child back, or even just trample some boundaries related to the child, that will disrupt our home and upset all my kids, as the kids I have now need a stable family dynamic due to their history. When I communicated these worries to my sister, she said she might have some lingering maternal instincts, because this would still be her biological child, but she feels this shouldn't be enough to talk me out of it. Both of our parents are only children, so we have no cousins/aunts or uncles who could take the baby, and while we do have 2 other siblings, neither of them are able to take the baby. She's about 6 weeks away from her due date, so if I hold firm on refusing, she needs to start talking to adoptive parents ASAP. She's admitted that the reason she wants me to take the baby is that I'm closer and she'll be able to see her child in a way that she wouldn't if the child were adopted by strangers, but insists that she can maintain any boundaries I put in place, despite it still being her kid. ETA, she also thinks we'd be a good family to adopt the child, as we're set up for another kid right now, due to our fostering. We even have baby stuff in the attic and a 7-seater car, and have discussed adopting more children in the future. Though we talked about doing it when the children we have right now are older. So the inclusion of a baby wouldn't be highly disruptive to us, and my husband and I would really love having a baby in the house, and actually debated adopting a baby. I've refused, and I just don't think this is a good idea, and this has led to my sister, siblings, parents and grandparents calling me an arsehole, saying I need to help family and that they can't believe I would allow this baby to be surrendered to the system, and I do feel really bad as I don't want to have my niece/nephew to be sent to live with strangers. I would like to be involved in their life, and I've not even given it a chance. While I won't be making any choices based off poll of random people on the internet, no offense, I am wondering if anyone could provide me a different perspective. Am I the arsehole? Now I'm going to start off with a verdict, and I can't say that OP would be the arsehole in the situation, because OP does need to think about their currently family dynamic and if it will upset them and things like that, and they're totally right to do so. They need to look after themselves first in the situation. And you know, the first thing that popped into my head when I was reading this is that the sister sort of like wants to be like the fun aunt who comes in now and then. That's just a feeling I'm getting. And I might be totally wrong to say that, but that's just what was popping in my head, that she just wants to, she still wants to be able to see the baby and stuff, and that's why she wants this OP to adopt. And I'm personally getting feelings, and obviously I can't prove this in any way, that there's definitely going to be boundary issues further down the line between OP and the sister and the kid, because, you know, it's just a feeling I'm getting in this one. But let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Amara Undone says, it sounds like she wants you to do all the hard work of actually being a parent, and she can't just show up for the good bits when she feels like it. Not the arsehole, your concerns are very valid based on her attitude and things said. Living Like Me says, not the arsehole, she can try and open adoption if she really wants to see her baby, but you shouldn't take in a child if you have so many reservations. Stereo on Cooking Bacon says, what a mess, you're absolutely spot on that she will have no boundaries. She will swoop in and be the fun bio-mum at best and the dysfunctional bio-mum more likely. She will undermine you at every turn and destabilise your entire family. Your family is calling you the arsehole now, but imagine the constant conflict over the next 18 years when Cisco's crying to the extended family every time when you don't let her kids stay up past bedtime or whatever. Not the arsehole. If your siblings, parents and grandparents want the baby to be raised by family, they can raise the baby. Selly Rim says, not the arsehole, you know it's going to lead to more problems in the future with your sister and immediate family. You are not responsible for adopting her kid. It sounds like she is using you as an easy way out as a parent while still considering the kids hers, which would not be the case if you adopt it. Do not fall into the pressure, remain firm and do not let anyone push you into changing your mind. Wow, what would you do in that situation? Would you take on the sister's kid or would you let it go? I kind of feel bad because obviously if I was in that situation, I wouldn't want to like part of my family to go to like the foster care system when I could do something about it. But also you just know this is going to be a whole mess if you do adopt the child. It's a crazy situation, but I can't say OP is the arsehole in the situation for looking out for themselves, for looking out for her own family. What would you do in it? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story comes from Stunning Fisherman 3. Am I the arsehole for telling my sister to tell her children to talk properly? Hi all, my sister, her husband and their son came to visit us for dinner yesterday when we had a bit of a disagreement. When we were growing up, our parents always taught us to speak properly and dress nicely, and their advice has always been very helpful. We both got into top universities, sister went to Oxford, and now have great careers. Her husband is very working class and from the north of England, which is where they live now. Their kids are 13 and 11 and have very thick accents. They don't swear or anything like that, but they do use a lot of regional slang, half of which I don't understand. As they were leaving, I had a word with my sister in private, saying that she should think about asking her kids to talk properly, that it will be a struggle for them later in life with strong accents and slang. My sister responded by asking what that was meant to mean, and said that how she chooses to parent her children is her business only. She didn't say goodbye and just left. I'm not sure how to feel about this. I feel like these kids, who are lovely, intelligent and well behaved, will miss out on a lot of opportunities because they aren't well spoken. My sister and I were both taught these lessons from a very early age, but she seemed to have forgotten it all. I know it perhaps wasn't my place to make those comments, but I think I did the right thing in the long run. Oh dear, now this post sounds very, very snobbish to me, from the fact that you're separating the north and the south, and accents and things like that is ridiculous in itself. You know, a lot of northern places do have accents, but so do southern places. I'm from Oxford, I'm from central Oxford, who, you know, people look on from the outside, they think they all expect like posh university accents and like, oh, hello, good sir, and all that kind of thing. But you get accents like mine, which just sound like farmers. Growing up myself, I lived in, as I said, central Oxford. We wasn't a rich family or anything like that, but we got by and we learned a lot of street slang when we was growing up in the area, as I used to call it. And has it hindered me in life? No, it hasn't. I've learned a broad variety of language that I love to learn, and I think that's what makes us different. If we all spoke exactly the same accents, life would be absolutely boring. And if they're growing up in that area with that accent, that slang, it's not going to affect their opportunities at all, because that's in their sort of little area. Everyone's going to speak exactly the same, right? So this whole thing just comes across really snobbish to me. But let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Phantom67 says, yes, you're the arsehole. Someone having an accent and using slang does not mean they aren't talking properly. It's similar to telling someone to stop using Australian slang and etc. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean they need to change. Also, you do not have anything to back up the fact that it might affect their future. That's not fair for you to judge. Riri202 says, you're the arsehole and a snob. I grew up on a West Midlands council estate. I have a Birmingham accent. Am I successful? Yes. Do I have multiple degrees? Yes. Did I miss out on opportunities? I don't think so. And if I did, I'd rather not work or be amongst people who judge me based on my accent rather than the skills and qualities I possess. I think a posh accent works against people. Who wants to work with someone as stuck up as you? Not many. You're living up to an unfortunate posh accent stereotype by being a snob. You didn't do the right thing. You're incredibly judgmental and I pity you. Kicking It Per Se says, you're the arsehole, you're a snob, looking down on people with northern accents and inserting yourself into how your sister and her very working class husband raise their children. Dogs Reading Books says, you're the arsehole, that's their accent. Slang is normal. They will learn when to use it and when not to use it. INA settings such as this, a family dinner, is okay to use slang. Then quotes, my sister responded by asking what that was meant to mean and said that how she chooses to parent her children is her business only. She is right, she never asked about your opinion on how she's raising her kids. Also, you're the arsehole for how you talk to your sister's husband. It sounds like you think he's beneath you just because he's working class. If no one worked in food stores, how would you get food? If no one worked the construction, how would you be able to drive/get cabs, take the bus, subway, etc.? You're the arsehole for implying that the kids won't do well in life just because they speak with their accent and because they go to public school instead of private school. And most of those comments just explain half the issues with our country right now. Oh, yeah, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And the next story is from Junite2491. Am I the arsehole? Stranger at park calls me cruel and says I should know when to euthanize my dog. My dog got bone cancer at 10 years and has had to have limb amputation. He does 2 short walks a day and a longer hike once a week. He walks funny and kind of pivots on one of his back legs. He always has, only it is more pronounced with the amputation. He may have some pinched spinal nerves making his legs not work exactly how he would like. I got him shoes for hard/gravel surfaces to protect his feet. He likes fetch and to play frisbee daily. I was walking in the park and bumped into the same lady 3 times. My dog walks slow and takes a lot of breaks. When he wants to be carried, he will lay down and look at me. He wasn't doing that today, just lots of breaks. First pass, the lady comments that this is probably his last trip here. I said no. She then asked if he was on a particular med. I also said we tried it and that he had no benefits. I didn't disclose any other meds he takes. Second time we bumped into her, she mentioned how miserable he looks. I said he likes to go, he insists on going for his walks, playtime, etc. Third meeting she lets loose. She says again he is miserable. I told her, well, you don't live with him. His vet says his back legs are fine. His blood work is all very good. She interrupted saying, and I bet they took your money too. She then turns around to head to her car and says that I am cruel and need to know when to euthanize my dog. I had nothing to say after that, but I'm starting to question if he is really suffering and I'm too close to see it. Am I the arsehole for taking a 13-year-old tripod for these walks? I figure as long as he can and wants to, I will do my best to help him out. I really don't feel he is miserable. He only whines when he is bored or wants something, food/to go out. His eyes are bright and he's always engaged in what is happening around him. I would think that the lady must have seen something I am missing to say such things. And now there is an edit which I'm going to read immediately. So the edit says, thanks everyone for the reassuring words. I know it's not time to euthanize him. I am worried there may be something to her severe reaction to how he walks. He always would do this funny prance/trot. He would never walk like a normal dog. He only left a single footprint in the snow. After the amputation, he tries to do this prance, but you could see him timing out his walk-in, so he doesn't step on his front foot, and his back right foot pivots quite a bit when he does. This weird timed, 3-legged prance walk. I'm sure it's not the easiest or best way for a tripod to walk, but it's how he does it. His shoes help a lot in keeping his feet in good condition, and he's not getting wounds on the sides. Link to the photo taken right after we got home from our walk. I can't seem to post a photo here, and his image has been requested. I got the head tilt and intense stare by asking him if he wanted to go for another walk. Let's take a look at this doggo tax. Oh my word. No way, that's a beautiful dog. And in my opinion, you can always see from a photo how happy they are. And that dog just looks happy. Yes, you can't euthanize a dog. And you know the dog best. You know how they're feeling. So yeah, not the arsehole in my opinion. And that person just needs to keep their nose out. Now let's go to the comments straight away to see what they're saying. Melania Hates Me says, I think what you're missing is the lady is nuts. 40 years ago when I was a teenager, we let our cats out during the day. At night we brought them in. One of my cats disappeared. For 3 days I searched for him. We came home from dinner one night and he was in the driveway crying. His left hind paw impaled on a rusty steel jaw trap. Amputated. He lived a warm, happy life on 3 legs. Died at 18, asleep on my mother's lap. Not the arsehole. Wow. Himantophilus says, not the arsehole. The fact that your question is a really good sign. Having had several dogs who've reached old age, I know the constant questioning you do. Am I keeping them alive for their sake or mine? Are they really happy? Are they in pain? And am I just missing it? But if you're a good, attentive owner, and it sounds like you are, you know when your dog is happy and when they aren't. If he's still asking for walks, still gets bored, and still has bright eyes, then it sounds he's just a 3-legged dog enjoying his old age. You know when they've had enough. It's awful, but there comes a moment when the lights go out of their eyes, and you can just tell when they've had enough. From everything you said, it sounds like that time is still a long way off. You're doing everything right, so just keep doing it and ignore bitter and nosy ladies. And oh my god, Tiffany says, not the arsehole. OP, I know it's hard, but try not to let her get into your head. She's honestly just a bitch, and you know your dog and his life better. Seriously, what a horrible person. I love it when we get a bit of doggo tax on this channel. Anyway, what do you guys think of this story? How would you have dealt with that person who was talking to you multiple times and saying you should euthanize your dog while not knowing anything of the history of the dog? Wow. Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. Once again guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you have enjoyed today's stories, and just a massive thank you for all your support, all the new members joining just recently, all the support in Discord too, coming in there chatting. I see lots of you in the voice chat at the moment, chatting away. Absolutely fantastic, and I'm just so honoured by it. And don't forget, we've still got the Halloween competition going on. It's still got a few more days left, so come get involved in there. Would love to see you. There's a prize at the end as well, just to say thank you. Once again guys, yeah, and thank you once again. Much love to you, and see you in the next one.